She was 35 and already tired of life. Every morning began with a sigh, as though even waking up was another burden she hadn't asked for. The coffee was never hot enough, the bus was always late, and the people at work never seemed to understand how much she was carrying. Complaints were not just words for her, they were her rhythm, the background noise of her days. Each grievance felt justified, yet every utterance left her heavier, as if she were stitching patches of grey onto her own sky. Her neighbour, Mr. Ellison, lived 2 doors down. He was well into his 70s, a man who had known wars, loss, and the quiet erosion of time. Yet he moved through life as though he carried sunlight in his pocket. On one particularly dreary afternoon, when she was grumbling about the endless rain, he listened with a soft smile. Then he said something she didn't expect. Try living a year without complaining. Just 1 year. Not a word of it. She laughed, thinking it was a joke, but his steady eyes told her he meant it. He explained that words shape the heart. Complaints feed discontent, while silence allows gratitude to grow. At first, she wanted to dismiss him. What did he know about the stress of modern life? Deadlines, bosses, bills stacking up. But something about his calmness unsettled her. She realized that while she had everything he once didn't, safety, comfort, opportunities, he seemed lighter than she had ever been. That night, she sat in her small apartment, turning his words over like stones in her hands. A year without complaining. She wondered if she could even last a day. But beneath the doubt was a flicker of curiosity. What if she tried? What if she really could learn to live differently? The next morning marked the first step. She promised herself that no complaint would pass her lips. Almost immediately, the test began. The bus arrived 20 minutes late, and as frustration rose in her throat, she bit down on silence. At work, when her manager gave her yet another tedious task, she felt the old irritation burn, but she swallowed it. Instead, she wrote the thought in a small notebook she had decided to carry, 1 page for every moment she wanted to complain. By lunchtime, the notebook already had 3 entries. It felt strange, almost suffocating, to hold back what she had always released so freely. But when she went home that evening and read her own words, she noticed something. None of the frustrations were truly significant. They were small, fleeting inconveniences she had given too much power to. For the first time, she wondered if her life wasn't as heavy as she believed, but her words had made it so. That realization unsettled her. It was only day 1, yet already, she sensed the journey would be harder and deeper than she had ever imagined. The first few weeks felt like walking on a tightrope with no net below. Every situation seemed to dare her to slip back into her old ways. When the grocery line stretched endlessly, or when her colleague at work chewed loudly, her throat itched with unspoken complaints. She would press her lips together, grip her notebook, and write instead of speak. The pages slowly filled with the frustrations of daily life, but something unexpected happened. Seeing her thoughts captured in ink made them look small, like tiny scratches on paper, rather than deep wounds in her soul. Yet, the silence was not easy. There were evenings when she sat alone, the weight of her unspoken words pressing on her chest, like a storm that refused to break. She missed the release of complaining, the fleeting satisfaction of venting. Without it, she felt stripped bare, left to confront her feelings without distraction. It was painful, like standing in front of a mirror that reflected not just her face but the restlessness of her heart. Her neighbor, Mr. Ellison, noticed her struggle. One afternoon, she confessed that she felt muted, as though she had lost her voice. He nodded, his eyes gentle. "Silence is not emptiness," he said softly. "It is a space where meaning grows. Complaints are like weeds, they spread quickly, choking out everything else. But silence lets the flowers take root." His words stayed with her. Slowly, she began to notice the flowers. Not literal ones, though she did see the beauty of those too, but the small details that had once gone unnoticed. The warmth of the sun on her face during her walk to work, the quiet kindness of a stranger holding the door, the laughter of children outside her apartment, carrying joy into her tired evenings. These moments had always been there, but her constant stream of complaints had muffled them, like static drowning out music. Her relationships also began to shift. At work, her colleagues seemed less tense around her. Friends noticed she listened more, interrupting less with grievances of her own. Even her mother, who often endured long phone calls filled with her daughter's sighs, said she sounded lighter. At first, she was startled by these changes. Was her silence truly altering the way others saw her? Or had she been so focused on her own discontent that she had never noticed how it weighed on those around her? Still, the journey was not without setbacks. There were days she failed, days when the words slipped out before she could catch them, sharp and heavy. But instead of despairing, she wrote them down, acknowledging them without judgment. She began to understand that the goal was not perfection, but awareness. Each failure was not an ending, but a reminder of how far she had already come. In the quiet of those days, she started to feel a new strength rising within her. Not loud, not triumphant, but steady, like a candle that refuses to go out in the wind. By the time the seasons turned, she no longer counted the days on her calendar. What had begun as a year-long challenge was now simply the way she lived. The notebook that once overflowed with scribbled frustrations now carried something else: reflections, small gratitudes, even gentle questions she asked herself about what truly mattered. When her bus was late, she used the extra minutes to watch the rhythm of life around her, the tired faces, the hurried steps, the quiet moments of kindness between strangers. When work piled up, she breathed, reminding herself that her worth was not measured by deadlines alone. She no longer fought every inconvenience as if it were an enemy. Instead, she carried them like passing clouds, knowing they would drift away soon enough. Her neighbor, Mr. Ellison, watched her quietly. One evening, as they stood in the fading light of the courtyard, she thanked him. "For what?" he asked, his eyes glimmering with quiet amusement. "For teaching me how to live differently," she said. He shook his head. "No, you taught yourself. I only pointed to the path. The rest was you choosing to walk it." That night, she sat by her window and thought of the woman she had been a year ago, the one who sighed at mornings, cursed the rain, and filled silence with endless grievances. That woman had believed complaining was survival, a way to release pressure. But now she saw that it had been a cage, trapping her in negativity. By choosing silence, she had broken free. The change was not dramatic, not the kind of transformation that others would call extraordinary, but it was real. Her heart no longer felt heavy. Her days no longer seemed painted in gray. She had discovered a gentler rhythm, one that allowed her to see beauty in ordinary things, to breathe more fully, to listen more deeply. Complaints had once been her language, but now gratitude had become her voice. As the year ended, she realized something important. The challenge had a deadline, but the lesson did not. Complaining less was not about silence alone, it was about choosing how to see the world. She understood now that hardships would always come. There would always be delays, frustrations, and disappointments. But the way she responded to them was hers to decide. She closed her notebook, its final page filled not with a complaint, but with a quiet sentence she would carry forward. "Life is not lighter because it is easy. It is lighter because I have learned to carry it differently." And for the first time in many years, she felt truly free. Life often tempts us to believe that venting our frustrations makes us lighter. But perhaps true freedom comes not from releasing words of complaint, but from choosing silence that nurtures gratitude. This story reminds us that peace is not found in a world without problems, but in a heart that learns to meet them differently. If this story touched you, take a moment to reflect on how you carry your own burdens. Share your thoughts below, and if you wish for more stories like this, consider liking, sharing, and subscribing.